For each of the 7 deadly sins, there are 7 fitness influencers or bodybuilders who perfectly personify them, just as there are 7 others who perfectly personify the 7 heavenly virtues. In today's video, we're looking at each of these in depth and comparing them both, starting with greed and charity. Greed can be described as an intense and selfish desire for something, especially wealth and power, disregarding your morals and your friends in the process to obtain it, which was perfectly personified by Dan Bilzerian in his eventual downfall in his pursuit of money and fame. Charity is the direct opposite of greed, and nobody represents this more than Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, after achieving all the fame and glory one man could possibly need, he's decided to give huge chunks of his wealth back to the community. Despite the fact that Arnold is much more successful than Dan, Arnold chose to give back with his money, while Dan decided to go broke while trying to look rich. In the mid-2010s, Dan Bilzerian went insanely viral on Instagram due to his party boy lifestyle and constantly being surrounded by models. His Instagram account now has over 32 million followers, and he claimed to have won over $50 million in a single year just playing poker, and Dan was not shy in showing us what he was spending the money on. He would show off his ripped physique on his yachts and private jet trips, being surrounded by models and celebrities, living what is generally perceived as an unachievable lifestyle. He could probably be a good candidate for most of the deadly sins on this list, but it was his insatiable greed that eventually led to his satisfying downfall, as not long after he gained traction, people started to question where he was really getting his money from. There were claims being thrown around that he was being dishonest about where his wealth came from, as his skill in poker started being questioned, as he literally had zero proof that he'd won these millions from poker. Professional poker players actually started to call Dan a whale, which is someone who has lots of money but doesn't really know what they're doing playing poker. One thing that Dan was honest about though was his steroid usage, which he shared in DMs with a fan, and he was actually applauded by people for being honest about how he achieved his physique. Despite this though, people were still convinced he was lying about his money and decided to dig deeper. Around this time it surfaced that Dan's father was actually a massive fraudster, was involved in the US government's longest running fraud case, spanning 25 years. This led many people to believe that Dan and his father were simply laundering money through him and lied about his poker winnings to create a cover story for this fortune. To aid in this money laundering and to keep up the facade of this lavish lifestyle, Dan created his company Ignite, which he probably hoped would take off and allow him to explain his millions. However, like the name of the company suggests, the plan went up in flames almost instantly. The company allowed Dan to carry on his lifestyle for a short time, as it meant he and his father were able to pump money into the business and rent different luxury items through there, such as a huge mansion, private jets, and even more models to rent and show off on his Instagram. He also started to film different workout videos with different celebrities, showing off his ripped physique and showing off the high connections that he had. However, a quick look at the company's stock graph shows that it was hardly doing well, sitting in penny stock territory for most of the time. And it gets even worse, as a lawsuit revealed that Dan's company lost $50 million in a single year. This is hardly surprising after Dan fired one of his chief executives for trying to curb his insane spending, which included a $15,000 ping pong table, $40,000 on a rock climbing wall, and $130,000 on a photo shoot in the Bahamas. Needless to say, the company completely failed, and it was seemingly due to his lifestyle, which was way above his means, and trying to create a facade that he was a genuinely successful person, which is the complete opposite of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is one of the most successful bodybuilders of all time, but acts in a genuinely humble way. Arnold doesn't really need much introduction here. He's the most successful and decorated bodybuilder of all time, and really popularized the sport in general after his successive Mr. Olympia wins and starring roles in some of the greatest movies of all time. His younger life did involve some controversy, such as infidelity and actually being accused of sexual misconduct. However, he has apologized for these incidents and has tried to distance himself from these mistakes. Since this, he seems to be trying to make up for his past behavior by giving back to the people who made him famous in the first place, starting with health and fitness enthusiasts. While trying to spread awareness for his charity called After School All Stars, which looks to provide after-school programs to kids who are less fortunate, he teamed up with a massively popular chain, Gold's Gym. In a PR campaign, he filmed a short video with the gym and went undercover to secretly train with the normal gym goers, which ended with hilarious results, such as telling a woman to do 10 reps of the water machine.
How's it going?
Pretty good, thanks.
Drinking a lot of water? That's good. Because remember, 75% of the body is water. Keep drinking. Okay, we are not finished yet with the water drinking. Remember, we do everything in reps. So you've done 2 reps of water drinking. Usually we do 10 reps of everything, so do another rep of water drinking. And stand up straight. Very good. And rep number 7 and 10. Very good. You did it. Give me 5. That one. Ow. Why you hit so hard?
This is merely scratching the surface of his charity work though, and there are countless other examples of him supporting those less fortunate, such as when he was the governor of California for 6 years, he didn't accept his salary of $175,000, instead requesting this to be sent to charitable organizations. Considering this would be well over $1 million, you would think that this made a huge impact. And he didn't stop here. Over the years, he supported events such as the Special Olympics, which he's an ambassador of, and even giving fans the chance to spend a day with him driving around LA in an actual tank. The best part about Arnold is that despite being wildly successful, much more than Dan Bilzerian, he still trains in a public gym and still has time to take pictures and talk to fans when he meets them on the street. This, again, is the complete opposite of Dan Bilzerian, who wanted to show off his insane lifestyle at every single chance he had, even after it led to his downfall. Charity can also be seen as humility, as it's about giving back to the community and remaining humble despite your massive success in life. And by all accounts, Chris Bumstead is the most humble bodybuilder on earth, after meeting up with fans and sharing nothing but positivity in the community. On the flip side of humility is pride, and there are many candidates for this sin, but it is Jax Fit who takes this title after he ruined his reputation in less than 2 months after continuously posting with OnlyFans models trying to boost his status. We start with Chris Bumstead and humility though, which can be defined as having a humble personality and having a modest view of your self-importance, which by all accounts perfectly describes Chris's attitude. Despite him winning 5 Mr. Olympia trophies and garnering millions of followers on all of his social media accounts, he never comes across as arrogant or self-centered in interviews and seems incredibly open about himself. He's also always full of praise for other bodybuilders, even those he's in fierce competition with. After he released a training video with Ramon Dino, his closest rival in the classic Mr. Olympia competitions. Even though Ramon could eventually knock Chris off the top spot, the pair shared tips throughout the workout to help and lift each other, rather than engage in petty arguments, which really showed Chris's humble nature. This nature also shines through on his social media accounts, with him posting very frequently on YouTube and Instagram, very rarely taking brand deals or sponsorships, allowing him to build a real connection to his fan base. In a Reddit thread talking about him, someone commented, "Sebum goes to one of the gyms I go to, and I can say he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and very humble the few times I've talked to him. We talked for about 15 to 20 minutes and not once did he make it seem like I was bugging him." If you've watched the previous video about the most loved bodybuilders, this should not come as a shock to you, as I outlined everything mentioned and more, and I truly think that this all boils down to his truly humble nature, which is the exact opposite of pride. Although many bodybuilders see pride as a good thing, which it can be, as you will naturally be proud of the work you've put into your physique, you can take it too far and people will start to see you as arrogant. And even though he hasn't been around for that long, Jax Fitness makes this list due to how he reacted to being shot into fame. You would probably be forgiven for not knowing who Jax Fit or Jack Hallis is, which makes his sin of pride even worse, as he's not even that well known to begin with. He made his name on TikTok and was actually pretty humble in the beginning. He shared that he weighed just 50 kilograms, and at supposedly 6'1", this meant that he was severely underweight. He's just 18 years old too and hasn't fully developed his maturity yet, but nevertheless, he's still started to make waves on TikTok. He shared his fitness journey in a series of videos he titled Get Jacked with Jack, as he tried everything to gain weight as a skinny guy bulking. Although a lot of his techniques and diet choices were quite ineffective, he still persevered, and in the face of adversity from his comment section, who relentlessly trolled him, Jack started to get noticed. One of the most notable collabs he did was with Joe Frazier, who was someone we will look at very soon, and someone who was in a very similar position to Jack. Joe used to be very skinny too, and a similar height, so he knows all too well the struggles Jack faces to put on weight. The comments he received on the post were overwhelmingly positive, with people saying that they could see the gains coming and praised his hard-working attitude. However, things would soon start to turn south, and if you've seen the previous video covering him, you will already know exactly why. As Jack's popularity grew, so did his bank account, and he dropped out of college to do TikTok full-time. In many people's eyes, this was seen as jumping jumping the gun a bit, but he had good reason, as he was just signed onto MyProtein's team and he was earning money through the affiliate links and ad revenue. However, people started to notice a shift in his personality. His day in the life gym videos grew less frequent and he started to mainly post transformation posts, despite only gaining 5 kilograms in 6 months. At one point, he even lost weight.
So yes, you're reading the title correctly. I have in fact lost weight.
With comments claiming that he only lost weight because he doesn't actually want to get fit and only wants to be an influencer, which started to actually look like the truth. He was accused of being overconfident and trying to bait engagement from his haters, and his comments section was not shy about pointing this fact out. This all came to a head when, seemingly in the pursuit of views and money, he collaborated with Ed Matthews and started to stream with OnlyFans models. When fans of his called Jack out for this, he called them jealous and was seemingly blinded by the pride and overconfidence that came with what he saw was being a professional influencer. A fitness influencer is someone who can be a positive influence though, and what Jack was doing was not this. The lifestyle he promoted was that of going out drinking, trying to talk to girls and becoming a stud, as he put it. He seemed to fall in love with an OF model named Alexis Reed and has been publicly ridiculed after he failed in his mission to seduce her.
What about what else we saying?
Why?
That's Richmond from. You should. Fucking hell.
Since this incident with Alexis, Jack revealed on a podcast that he actually messaged every OF model he could find in a desperate attempt to collab with as many of them as possible.
Yeah, basically I just went on a bit of a wild one where I just DM'd like every OnlyFans girl and then Alexis replied and she was like, yeah, let's collab, and then I linked her in London.
This is a far cry from what a fitness influencer should do and is much more about boosting Jack's popularity online. He seems to have inflated his ego way past even that of Chris Bumstead's and shows that committing the sin of pride and being arrogant can destroy your career before it's even begun. This can be proved by taking one look at Jack's comment section, which was once filled with encouragement and positivity and is now filled with hatred and vitriol against Jack.
You know what to do. Get in the gym and stop slacking. Also, subscribe to Big Craig.
The sin of sloth can also kill your career, as it is defined as a reluctance to work and being lazy, with the opposite of that being diligence, described as being careful and having a persistent work ethic to try harder at everything you do. And you can probably tell just by looking which of these influencers represents which sin. But we will start with Amberlynn Reid, a weight loss YouTuber who actually ended up gaining weight at the end of her journey. Amberlynn has been covered extensively on the internet, and just like Jack's Fit, try to prove that you don't need to be in shape to become a fitness influencer. Amberlynn created her channel to document the beginning of her weight loss journey, starting her channel with a slightly awkward vlog talking about how motivated she was to begin her journey.
Hi, my name is Amberlynn and I wanted to start a YouTube channel for weight loss. I see a lot of videos of other people doing it and it's so motivating, and it's just something I'm really interested in doing.
Which could already qualify her to be in the super morbidly obese category, but she seemed to be dedicated to losing the weight and changing her life around. However, this weight check-in was over 10 years ago now, and her weight loss journey is actually yet to begin. Throughout the years, she's posted consistently, but her weight has only ever seemed to tick up, with her blaming different life events such as a breakup as reasons as to why she was unable to lose the weight she needed. It seemed that Amber's journey, or lack thereof, actually started to inspire people to make a change. A lot of people started to see themselves in Amberlynn, being in denial about the fact that she was eating too much, and actually made positive changes on the back of her series. Unfortunately for Amber though, even after multiple videos were released documenting her journey, she still hasn't lost the weight. As of 2024, Amber's weight has went up to 480 pounds, putting on more than 100 pounds in 10 years of her so-called weight loss journey. Amberlynn still posts too, and she's taking the ultimate lazy approach to losing weight by taking the weight loss injections called Ozempic. She's the living embodiment of a sloth lifestyle, wanting the rewards but refusing to put the effort in to achieve them. Joe Frazier embodies the complete opposite of sloth, showing that he has an insane work ethic to get where he wants to be, as he started his fitness journey looking like this, at the complete other end of the spectrum to Anne Boleyn. Joe posted his first YouTube video over 6 years ago now, which has gone on to gain over 31 million views. It documents his fitness journey, which is in stark contrast to Anne Boleyn's for two reasons. For one, he was trying to gain weight, and the second and main reason being he was actually successful. The video shows just how skinny Joe actually used to be, which shows how hard he had to work to get to the point he's at now. Even in the video, he acknowledges how far he has come in such a short time, but is humble enough to recognize that he still has a huge journey ahead of him. His earlier videos showed just how hard he was willing to work to achieve his goals, such as this one where after finishing school at 5 PM, he filmed a vlog of him going to the gym and editing the footage for his growing audience. For someone at the age of 15 to show this much dedication to bettering himself is something that is rarely seen, and Joe has reaped the rewards for this ever since. His channel has since grown to over 1.6 million subscribers, and he's a sponsored athlete for the huge supplement brand MyProtein. His journey hasn't been easy though, and has come with its fair share of trials and tribulations, such as multiple bouts of losing motivation and, just like Anne Boleyn, a major breakup along the way. However, what separates the sins of sloth and diligence is the ability to work hard in the face of adversity, and Joe did just that, powering through the bad times to get where he is today. He could also arguably be put under the virtue of patience, as it's taken him half a decade to get where he is today. But the influencer who makes our list for patience is actually Jeff Nippard, due to his calm nature and scientific approach to giving fitness advice, going as far to watch every single Sam Sulek video he's uploaded in order to critique his training style. On the flip side of this though is Vegan Gains, and although in his later years he has calmed down slightly, he used to be wrath incarnate, as he would go on screaming rants about wanting to murder babies and actually threatening other YouTubers with knives. But first we look to Jeff Nippard, a true saint in the bodybuilding and online fitness community. Patience is defined as the ability to wait calmly without getting frustrated by the lack of progress in your chosen field, and Jeff displays his patience perfectly, advocating for a science-first bodybuilding style that places the emphasis on long-term progress and training for your health. He will never shout and scream at the camera, and uses his calm demeanor to bring peaceful but in-depth education to beginner lifters and seasoned professionals alike. The most recent example of his saint-like patience is the video he made on Sam Sulek, titled The Shocking Science Behind Sam Sulek's Training, in which he watched every single workout Sam has uploaded and actually tracked his workouts. Jeff put these workouts into a spreadsheet and shared this with his audience, giving incredibly in-depth thoughts on it. Jeff also shared a Facebook post in which he reminded his fans that all they need to do is work hard and have patience, saying that time, consistency and hard work are your best friends in your own transformation. This calm and collected approach and advocating for longevity while training has earned Jeff 4.5 million subscribers on his YouTube channel and has made him a real voice of authority and reason in the fitness community. The same can't be said for Vegan Gains, who has made himself the laughingstock of the fitness world for being pretty much the exact opposite of Jeff, screaming and shouting at his audience every time someone disagrees or argues with him. Vegan Gains, or Richard, is the most psychotic influencer in the online fitness world, and even though he's calmed down in his later years, the infamy of his crimes lives on. Although vegans could be seen as pretty heavenly and wholesome, attempting to avoid animal products at all costs, Richard cannot be seen this way, and the deletion of his channel at one point proves this point. The first controversy he was involved in involved his elderly grandfather after he tried to use his fatal heart attack as content for his YouTube channel by recording the incident and sharing his death as a reason to swap to a vegan-only diet. I've spoken about this before, so I won't go too in depth, but the way he acted on this video was frankly disgusting, after he shared his rage that he was dragged to his grandfather's funeral by his family. Obviously, you all know what happened next, because you've watched my previous videos which both feature Vegan Gains, but for the benefit of those who haven't yet, this stunt did not go down well. Multiple huge YouTubers called him out on this, namely one named Repzion, who claimed he had mental health issues which needed addressed immediately. Rather than taking some time to reflect on his actions, he stuck to his guns and fought back. And in a stream, Richard said he would love to run a knife along the throat of Repzion.
Yeah, if I had the opportunity, I'd kill him. slit his throat with this knife. Really like to use this knife on him.
Being unable to take criticism is a sign of someone unable to contain their wrath. And after Richard made comments about wanting to smash babies into the ground and laughed at another YouTuber's cancer diagnosis, it's easy to see he is the living embodiment of wrath. If we contrast Jeff and Richard's personality and presenting style, it makes it easy to see that they are almost polar opposites to each other and fully earn their respective places on the list of wrath and patience. It obviously has paid off for Jeff to be patient as opposed to angry, as he has 10 times the subscribers as Richard, which allows his message to be spread to a much larger audience, something that Richard could only dream of. Wrath is often seen as one of the worst sins, as it can lead the person committing it to do disgusting things in their rage. But arguably, there is one more which is worse, and that is lust. Lust can be described as a strong sexual desire, which is something that manifests as uncontrollable urges to carry out acts which are unspeakable on YouTube. On the flip side of this is chastity, which means refraining from premarital intercourse at all, and it's slightly strange to talk about on a video. Starting though with Lust, starring Roger Hun. Roger is a TikTok influencer, or maybe former TikTok influencer now, who has over 430,000 followers. He was quite a big name in the fitness industry, and even talked to his fans about starting his own supplement company, which only the biggest stars ever usually do. However, this hasn't really gained much traction, but what did gain traction were the accusations that Roger was a PDF file. He was found having seriously inappropriate conversations with a who was way too young for him, which led to him losing all of his sponsorships. Apparently TikTok has been censoring these claims, and YouTube likes to censor claims like this too, so I'm going to do my best to keep it child friendly. Essentially though, near the end of 2022, a TikToker and known PDF file hunter, Mr. Goob, uploaded a shocking video which spectacularly accused Roger of engaging with a Roger is 30 years old and was caught messaging someone half his age, which is obviously very illegal. Mr. Goob shared screenshots of the messages which were sent, and it even shows that Roger lied about his age and said he was 20 years old, probably in an attempt to make it seem less weird for the victim. The messages get even more weird from here on in, as it shows Roger was unable to contain his lust, as he called her a good girl and even asked more sexually charged questions, such as the victim's bra size and if she was still a V. This didn't go down well, as he was rightfully exposed to the bodybuilding community for being a disgusting creep. But on top of this, he lost his probably very lucrative sponsor from MyProtein. He tried to defend himself from these allegations by saying his phone was logged in from Newcastle, showing he had been hacked, but they in no way clear his name, and he is going to be forever known as the influencer who tried his luck with someone he shouldn't have. The complete opposite of lust is chastity, which means waiting until marriage and having the strength to control your urges, which is apparently practiced by Alex Eubank. The world of bodybuilding and fitness influencing can be a flashy lifestyle, and if you're successful, it can change your life in ways you can never expect. This obviously brings different temptations, including money and fame, but also the temptation of women. Alex Eubank has apparently resisted these urges though, and has a very fitting reason for this. Alex has talked about being a devout Christian, and like most devout Christians, has said on a couple of occasions, mainly on deleted Snapchat stories, that he won't be engaging with his partner before marriage. This can be seen as very admirable, especially in today's age of promiscuity. Unfortunately though, he and his girlfriend have since split up, but it does not change the fact he was willing to wait until marriage and stick to his religious beliefs. Moving swiftly on, and the next to cover is gluttony and temperance, which have been by far the most difficult to pick, but after some time, we have found the perfect candidates. Gluttony can be defined as the overindulgence and overconsumption of food or drink, which obviously isn't too common in the bodybuilding world, but the influencer who represents gluttony embodies it perfectly, as he's become to be known as the Bloat Lord. On the other hand, temperance can be seen as moderation in thoughts, feelings, or even abstaining from alcohol, which is practiced by Chris Williamson. Chris runs the Modern Mind podcast and is the author of multiple books. He's a pioneer in the self-help niche and has gained millions of followers throughout all of his social media accounts. He's also truly dialed into his body and his needs, and as such, steers away from anything which might hurt his productivity activity and efficiency. This includes alcohol, which in the UK is a mainstay in our culture and is something that basically everyone drinks. In a debate with Piers Morgan, he admitted that due to his work as a club promoter and drinking during his 20s, he felt held back by the constant hangovers and decided it was not worth his time in the end, but found it improved his life tenfold when he went sober. The benefits to cutting out alcohol can't be understated, as it can improve your physical and mental health while also improving your life in ways which may not be visible. Chris has been very outspoken about the benefits of this too, which given the platform he possesses and his healthy lifestyle, it may actually help to sway people to join him in his elective sobriety lifestyle. Gluttony on the other hand is the complete opposite spectrum of this, and nobody shows this more than the Blue Lord Kyriakos Kapakoulak, or just Grizzly for short. Grizzly weighs over 180 kilograms, or 396 pounds to the Yanks, which is an absolutely staggering weight for a gym influencer. Grizzly clearly eats a lot of food, and after he chugged a blender full of protein shake, it's not hard to see where all of this mass is coming from. Like the old saying goes, mass moves mass, and he's recorded himself doing some absolutely insane lifts, including these Zercher shrugs, which look to be well over 300 kilograms. The belly he possesses may look fat, but actually contributes to the raw power Grizzly holds. Despite the power he has in his body, you can't hide the fact that he's committed the sin of gluttony more than a couple times, as he tucks his stomach into his pants and weighs more than an adult gorilla. Something tells me he doesn't really care about his actual health though, and just wants to move big weights. The final virtue and sin pair are actually two of the most important in the entire video, as they could potentially have the biggest effect on those around them and possibly even themselves. Envy and kindness are the polar opposites of each other, and even though envy is a sin, it can manifest in devastating ways and be heartbreaking for the loved ones who commit this sin. And Rich Piana pushed his envy to extreme levels, which ended in tragedy. Rich Piana grew up around bodybuilding. His mother was a professional bodybuilder, and he admitted that he basically grew up in the gym. He said that while playing with his He-Man action figures, he would look around to see real-life He-Men walking around him, and decided that from a young age, that's how he wanted to look. However, this quickly turned into an obsession for Rich, as he looked for more extreme ways to get as big as possible as quickly as possible. As he grew older, he went from having a great clean physique to looking like this. His pursuit to get as big as possible could be seen as envy, as he was trying to keep up with the bodybuilders around him and try to one-up them, which ended up materializing as severe body dysmorphia. Rich ended up carrying out very questionable practices, taking large quantities of steroids, which isn't exactly out of the ordinary these days, but he didn't stop there. He started to inject synthol, or oil basically, into his already huge arms in order to get them looking bigger. His workouts were even more insane, including an 8-hour arm workout, something no human should put themselves through. There are also very worrying reports that in order to get the pre-workout into his system quicker, he actually resorted to snorting it. I've done a full deep dive on Rich Piana and a look into his human condition, if you're interested in learning more about him. The reason that Rich is down as envy though is although many bodybuilders feel insecure about their physique and feel body dysmorphia, few took it to the extremes that Rich did. Body dysmorphia usually stems from comparing yourself to others, feeling envious of them, and unfortunately this was so strong that Rich felt the need to push his body to the absolute limits and beyond. This ended up in tragedy, as on the 25th of August 2017, Rich passed away due to significant heart disease, and his autopsy revealed most of his major organs were enlarged as a result of severe steroid abuse. Rich is sorely missed, and his legacy has not been forgotten in the community, and the creator who represents kindness in the community is also building a legacy, as they are showing a genuine concern for the well-being of others, and nobody embodies this more than Noel Dazel. Noel has clearly made a name for himself in the gym community, as pretty much every comment said Noel after I asked you in the community section of my page. Although some people said that I was the kindest, a lot of people said Daddy Noel. He is like a cupcake, so sweet and a genuine person. I would like to meet him in real life. Noel's videos center around giving genuine advice to his followers, being an advocate for a healthy lifestyle, and urging his fans to live their lives to the fullest and be positive. It seems like this isn't a facade either, as he's been spotted multiple times by fans and is more than happy to take photos and take TikToks with them. To someone like Noel, it really doesn't matter what walk of life you are from. As long as you give kindness to him, you will receive nothing but kindness and positivity back. And if you want to see more people advocating for gym positivity, click the video on your screen now, or visit my channel to see my whole video catalogue about gym influencers. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.